different making the show now as opposed to when you first started? I know it's a little bit flashier.
We still have those moments where we're like, we can't believe they're letting us do this. But I think it's gotten a lot easier for us over time in a lot of ways where, at least when we started, we had no idea what we were doing. Adult Swim was just like, here's a show, go make it. And we didn't know what stop motion. We kind of did it for Sony's website back in 2000. We didn't know how much work it really entailed. I still remember it was episode 7 of the first season where my animators, my production crew, and everybody called to tell me that, or kept us in the office till about 3 a.m. telling us how awful a job we were doing. But it ended up working out for the best. So now going into this season, we really know how to make it work. I think it's more pressure on making sure we maintain the humor. And for us, again, we think less about what people will find funny than just making ourselves laugh, and just hope that it's the same as other people out there. I think that's the biggest trick for it is, you can't try to predict what's funny for others. You just have to make your friends laugh.
Looking at the list of guest stars we had.
All for the next season. And then there are people like Christian Slater, who I always come back to, stalked our head writer at a party and told him how much he loved Robot Chicken and kept quoting our A-Team sketch to him the entire night. And now he's one of our go-tos to bring him back in. I think CeeLo, of all people, saw Seth and was like, when the fuck am I going to be on Robot Chicken? And Seth was like, tomorrow. And literally, it was the next day that we brought him in. So it's a combination of both. It's really a nice balance. But again, we're fans of all these people. So anybody you see, we're like, yeah, we should just bring them in. Same thing happened with John Hamm this season. We were obsessed with him, with Mad Men.
Speaking of guest stars, I remember hearing about the attempt to get Harrison to guest star, and it was a very funny story during the bumper that he described with Aiden's response. Are you going to still go for it? George Lucas is on this. Isn't that enough for Harrison to jump on the bandwagon?
I think it's just a matter of the information getting to Harrison in order to say yes or no. We had this really great moment for, we were trying really hard for the third Star Wars special to pull it off. I give a lot of credit to Jon Favreau, of all people, who was shooting Cowboys and Aliens at the time, because we wanted him to be in the Star Wars special also. And he was going to get the information to Harrison, and we were like, this is the greatest day of our life. And it was a little bit heartbreaking because we had a scheduling conflict with John, and because he's in production, it was like 22-hour days for him. He just couldn't do it, and we missed that small window. And then we were just like, it wouldn't happen. And John was like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna try. And we're like, but we're gonna go into the next season, and we'll still go out to him, and we'll still try. And he's the ultimate get for us fanboys. So we'll shoot for it. Here.
So how awesome does it feel, like after all the work that you put into all the Star Wars specials, being featured so adamantly on the blooper reel on the newest Star Wars collection? Like on that last disc, there's more Robot Chicken on there than anything else. It's like second Robot Chicken, second Robot Chicken, second.
For the Star Wars Blu-ray?
Yeah, on that last disc.
It's kind of weird in a great way. Like again, I'm giddy about Star Wars. I'm at that place where Star Wars has become such a part of my life in a way I never expected possible, and I still remain humble about it. Because it's weird to have people say that their introduction now to Star Wars was through our show, and I say I'm sorry when that happened. And then even just the conversations you get into, like we had these 3 interns on this last Robot Chicken Star Wars, and I got into a huge debate with them because they were telling me why the prequels were better than the originals, and I was like, you guys are out of your fucking mind. And they explained to me how the originals feel very slow. The effects aren't as good as I think they are. They explained to me how much older I was. That I am your father. The world knows it. There's no surprise there. And like I just got into this whole thing, and it was like mind-boggling. And we went at it, and then I had this realization that it's just generational. Like I'm watching, like even right now, my son watched Clone Wars, and that's how he's being introduced to it, and he knows Ahsoka and Anakin and loves it to death, and that's his Star Wars. And it's mind-boggling that it's just been able to go in that direction. I'm sure when he watches the original, he's going to tell me I'm crazy also that I love them as much as more than anything on the planet. So it's just a really interesting dynamic with Star Wars. But I'm flattered by any connection we have to that thing, and the fact that George let us do it is, I'm still not comfortable. Right over here.
Did you contact George Lucas, or did George Lucas contact you guys first?
With Star Wars, again, if Tracy is here, she is. It's actually her fault in blue, because we had aired that Emperor phone call sketch, and I honestly, it was this great moment where it was like a week or two after it aired, and Lucasfilm showed up on our caller ID. And Seth and I sat in the office and we're looking at it, like, you want to get it? I'm like, you can get it. So I picked up the phone and I was like, hi, Matt in Seth's office, can I help you? And it was Tracy, and she was saying, hey, everybody up here had seen that sketch. Do you guys want to come up and maybe get a tour of Lucasfilm? And we were like, yeah?
Nice.
So within a week, we were up there, and they showed us around. We got the grand tour, and we were just so giddy. We met with like all the department heads there, and while we were at lunch, I figured it was my one chance, and I kicked Seth under the table. And I was like, I'm gonna do it. And I was like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we did like a Star Wars, maybe half-hour robot chicken? And I never forget Seth stomped on my foot. Like, shut the fuck up. And literally, and within 3 weeks we were up and running. I could not believe how fast it really it moved. They were just really into it and game. And it was at the same time that Family Guy was starting up theirs, and it was just fun. So, yeah.
One of the things I really like, just the little touches, is your guys' episode titles. I know it's really nerdy, but we're at Comic-Con, so. In the upcoming season, is there any episode title that you just really think is funny or enjoy?
I'm trying to remember. Season 5 was, we were taking someone's favorite movie and we mixed it with someone's most hated movie and made the titles that way. So I can't remember some of them. It was like, you know, you probably remember them better than I would. But I know it was like, I can't even think of one. But if you look at any of the titles, that's kind of how we mixed it. You know, our first season was like rejected titles for the show. You know, it's like each season we kind of come up with a theme of how we're going to name it. I think our last season was like a plea to like, you know, please help us, we're stuck in a DVD factory. But yeah, we just have fun. It just starts the season, and it's just the fun thing that we can talk about in the writing room.
Do you guys ever self-censor, or is there a line you guys just don't cross when you write?
There is some self-censoring, but very rarely. There is one joke where it was that we always come back to is the stillborn baby joke that we thought was really inappropriate, where, you know, the wife's giving birth and takes out the baby, the doctor looks at it and sees it and then just goes, wah, wah. And then when you actually visualize it, it's so much more horrible than you think. Just because we like dark. I mean, you saw our Tooth Fairy sketch. We like dark. But yeah, that was a little too much for us. But it's rare. It's definitely rare. See something on like Super Jail or whatever it is we're watching, I'll be like, how the fuck did they get away with that? And I'll call up and they'll be like, oh yeah, you can do that now. But there are a lot of times that I think we're setting the bar also for some of the other shows. I think it's just a give and take, and it's the day of the week that you end up submitting something to someone who's at S&P. So yeah, their Adult Swim is probably the best place to work with, just giving you leeway. They just let you just have fun. And once in a while they'll call up and be like, hey, you might want to rethink this, or here's maybe how to make it funnier. And suggestions, not mandates. And I think that's what's great. And their suggestions are 99% of the time right. And when they're not, they say they're not. So that's what makes it so great. So.
You were talking about like going in the future and advancing.
Wow. How do I answer this without getting myself in trouble? Actually, you know what? We had a sketch that was a Final Destination Archie sketch. And it was one of those things where I think when Archie saw it, they didn't understand what our show was, or what we were doing with it, and how it was. You know, it's like doing Saturday Night Live doing a sketch, you know, just making fun of it. And it was really interesting because it went from being on air to them discussing it and us having conversations to them, their president calling up and saying, it is something we really like, can you please air it again? And it was a really nice thing where they understood and they got it. I think it just, you know, people jump very quickly when they see something they don't understand fully, and that's probably the biggest one. But it's now back on the air in rotation and cycles, and you know, makes us wonder if we'll do something artsy again. So it's good.
Two questions. I know you work for Twisted Toy Fair Theater and Wizard Magazine. I was wondering if you ever reused a joke from that by accident on Robot Chicken. And two, I really like Titan Maximum. Is it coming back?
Yes.
All right, where to start? With Twisted Toy Fair Theater, you know, most of the main guys there, Doug Goldstein, Tom Root, even Mike Gasol to some degree, have worked on Twisted Toy Fair Theater. So as far as reusing a joke, if we did, I'm sure we didn't need to. It just means that we're very short-sighted and stupid. But at the same time, I think you know it's one of those things where you know Toy Fair inspired us. It got us all together and created a bunch of people who just found things funny together. That's how we met Seth. He was a big fan of Twisted Toy Fair Theater and called up one day, and then lured us out to the West Coast. So that was good. With Titan, the tricky thing with Titan was, or is still, it's how and when is always the big thing. I just don't know when we're going to get back to it because the one thing we realized very quickly is how all-encompassing Robot Chicken is. You know, we shoot 11 months out of the year to make 20 episodes, and factoring that in, I just don't know.
I just want to say, I think it's one of the funniest voice casts on TV too.
I love it. Yeah. Everybody on that show was. It's like a lot of our favorites. Everybody from Brecken to you know Dan, who are both writers and voice talent, and then on top of that, you know like
Rachel.
Rachel is phenomenal and the sweetest woman in the entire universe. And Eden Espinosa, if you guys don't know her, I highly recommend checking her out in any musical you can. She was in Wicked, and I can't hype her up enough. Like honestly, if she's not on television soon, like in a live action thing, I would be shocked because she's that